Hey, it's Penny here, your Dungeon Master. Thanks for checking out our podcast. I really hope you enjoy it. I just wanted to throw out a small apology about the occasional bump in sound quality. I had this whole setup planned for how we were going to record, but then COVID happened, so I've been recording over Wi-Fi and we get the odd sound issue. It's not too frequent, and I hope you can forgive it and enjoy the show anyway. Thanks again for giving it a listen. Love, Penny. Hi everybody, welcome to the very first episode of the terrible adventures of the Janderson Breffords Parchment Company. This is a D&D podcast. We're going to be playing 5e. We're going to be having a good time. My name is Penny. I will be your dungeon master today. And I'm like pineapple on pizza, you know? Like, people either love me or they hate me, and everyone just kind of knows exactly which it is right from birth.
Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'll be playing Frankie during this game, and I've got a disease and no one knows what to call it. It's not true.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
We're getting serious on session 1. All right. My name's Liz. Today I'm going to be playing a dwarf barbarian called Karen. And so far I've done 7,364 steps, according to my Fitbit.
Oh, come on.
Today?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm playing Flinvar, who is a halfling bard. I almost broke my smoothie maker today, making my breakfast, so that was fun. Hopefully not tomorrow, because I live for smoothies.
And I am Poppy. I'm playing Idafit, the Tiefling Rogue, and I have really nice dice. Can you hear them?
Ooh, clackly.
Oh, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that, we will begin episode 1. The sun rises over the land of Mat Zemla, signaling the beginning of a new day. In the kingdom of Yamir City, flying over farmlands and fields, we see hardworking villagers tending to their crops and their livestock. Flying further, we see kingdom guards both clad in and composed of hard metal, patrolling the rural roads, keeping people safe. And further still, beginning to peek over the horizon, we see the great capital, Yamir City. Already alive with hustle and bustle, we fly over the walls to see people of all kinds preparing themselves for a coming business day. Fruit vendors are filling their stalls, smiths are lighting their forges, and a small shop's doors burst open as if by themselves, though apparently no one is there. Sweet smells tempt passers-by through the shop to spend. We fly higher and pass a thick metal railing suspended above houses and shops, and seconds later an enormous decorated centipede hurtles by, widening off into the city past grand towers and miniature palaces, carrying passengers to their morning destinations. Through diverse marketplaces, houses, slums, and business districts, we see humans, half-elves, dwarves, and people of many types working hard to earn today's coin, to participate and keep their place in the great rat race of the city. We begin to descend within the western quarter as we get closer to factories and offices full of people working. We fly over a public park and find ourselves drifting through the second-story window of a building labelled Janderson Breffords Parchment Company. We see a busy office just stretching its legs for the day. People sitting up their desks, brewing coffee, greeting one another. A dwarven woman holding a note approaches a large oak door, puffs out her chest, and knocks. Yes, come in, please.
Darling, I know it's early, but I'm just coming in just to check some things out. You know, I'm just coming in.
Oh, yes, please come
Karen
in.
Opens the door and bustles through.
Would you like to tell us what she looks like?
A short, portly dwarven woman bustles through the door. She has blonde hair in a neat little bob, Her short beard is elegantly trimmed and plaited. She's wearing a bright blue pantsuit with cute little heels, very fashionable, very dwarven, solid metal with leather detailing. And she's carrying her fashionable leather tote bag filled with all the important things that a working businesswoman needs for her day.
Very nice. So you enter the room. It's a large double door, although there's two sets of handles. There's one about human size, and then there's another set of handles that are like about halfway down from the other handles. And as you enter the office, it's actually rather grand. There are, fern plants. There's a large bookshelf off to the side, and sitting on the other side of a comically large oak desk sits a small, gnomish man with a bushy moustache, in a purple suit and a little hat. He's the mayor from the Powerpuff Girls, basically.
Yes.
His name is Janderson Breffords II. Oh, good morning, Karen.
Janderson, darling, it's so lovely to see you.
You too, Karen. You've always been so reliable. I just really wanted to call you in on this very important day.
Well, it's funny that you call it very important.
Oh, yes.
But do go on, Janderson, do go on.
Well, I just wanted to congratulate you on a particularly nice birthday party lunch that you threw yesterday. Nice but not expensive. Makes the employees feel needed. Absolutely perfect. I loved it. The cake was phenomenal.
Thank you so much. Do you know that my daughter, Emerald, she told me about this beautiful little bakery, just down the road, and it's actually one of her friends that runs it, and it's just amazing the things the kids are doing these days, isn't it?
Well, the reason I've called you in here is there's somewhat of a sensitive matter I need your help with.
Oh, of course, Janderson. Anything that you need. You know how sensitive I am.
He starts nervously shuffling through papers as though he is just sort of looking for something to do with his hands. And he's like, oh dear, well, it appears that some of our chemicals appear to have gone missing. We need them to meet our month's output. It appears that somebody has delivered them to the wrong place.
Well, that certainly seems like a job for...
Somebody very important, you are correct. What I need you to do, my dear, is grab, 3 friends of yours and go out and track down the barrels in the small town of Keyston was the last place that they were seen. I suppose you and 3 others should be able to retrieve them quite easily. Nobody that will miss for the day, though, please. Make sure that we're not taking anyone too important.
Of course. Absolutely. I will be back presently. When would you like me to be back? I wouldn't want to be back too early.
Well, before the end of the day would be ideal, of course. It shouldn't take you too long. Keyston's only an hour or 2 away from here. So, yes, before the end of the day would be perfect. Thank you very much.
Right. I'll go and collect some of the, kids around the office, and we'll see what we can do, shall we?
As you go to leave, he's like, Karen?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to keep this matter quiet. There's almost nobody who knows about this. The board will be sure to use this to make fun of my nice new suit, and I simply can't have that.
Oh, and your suit is just lovely, darling.
Isn't it?
We wouldn't want the board making fun of that. Karen exits the room and closes that door quietly. No, she's feeling very important that someone has entrusted her with a job like this.
Out in the bullpen, there is a small halfling man. He's talking to a salesman, a human named Rytar. Nate, why don't you tell us a little bit about him?
About Flinvar?
Yeah.
Or the human that I'm talking to.
I imagine you don't know much about that guy.
Flinvar is a very well-kept halfling dude. A little bit dashing looking, but also a little bit politely rough, is a nice way to say it. Politely rough looking.
I think they call that roguish.
Yeah.
Although not a rogue.
Roguish without the sneak. Too blatant to sneak. No.
Is there anything else that we can see about him? How's he dressed?
He's wearing like a green, like a town coat, basically. And he's always got his trusty satchel by his side. So in there he carries a lot of things ready to make some quick sales and finalize those goals for the day. He's always, his desk is always very neat and tidy, and that kind of shows in his personality sometimes. He likes everything just so. So even if he's been a bit, frazzled from racing from place to place, he'll still take time to adjust his hat and his kerchief, and he's always got a very nice tidy beard, short beard.
Nice. So he's talking to a man, and the man's kind of laughing and patting him on the back, and Rytar says, "Oh, I'm sure you absolutely tore it up last night. Flynn, you and your people, you're the best partiers I know. I went out to this place last night, and one of you shorties was just dancing everywhere and buying everyone drinks. It was fantastic."
Shorties? Well, they say that the taller you are, the less places you can reach.
That's almost the opposite of what they say. And to demonstrate this,
the important places.
to demonstrate this, he pulls a can of coffee down from a shelf and then puts it back, and he's like, "I'd like to see you do that, Flynn."
Thankfully, I'm on a tea cleanse.
Anyway, so I heard you had a big sale happening today. Is that right? Some kind of wizard school? Is that what you're doing today?
Well, it's all about building the relationships, and I've built this relationship up from the ground up, and I'm very proud of the excessive use of paper that they've had. It's always pleasing to see all those scrawling messes across the floor that they seem to have. I'm not one for mess, but, the amount they chew through that paper, oh, I love it. It's all about the client's needs, isn't it?
I have to commend you on your salesmanship, my dude, but...
Of course you do, of course
Oh
you
my
do.
god, how good is it to have a relationship with someone who thinks they can bring magic back to the world by writing on paper? What morons! How the hell is reading books for 100 years gonna bring back a mystical power from the days beyond? Delusional bastards.
Look, my advice to anyone is always just try again. If it's not written in the first time incoming magical, just do it again. And that's what I say to them constantly. It's, it's the small little tips that count.
At this point, a dwarven female middle manager approaches you.
Darling, Flinvar, you're not doing anything today, are you? No, you're not. You don't even know what time it is. Good evening. You're coming with me today. Don't say anything else. Don't talk to this man. Right hard. Shut up. Go and do something else. It's, come on. Let's get out of here, Flinvar.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't worry, Flynn, bud. I'll take care of that important meeting for you, and I'll be certain to split my commission with you if I manage to make the sale. Don't even worry about it.
I've already sent an owl. Don't worry about it. I'll deal with it.
That's weird. You would send an owl when we have a perfectly good mail system, but okay, bye.
I was really hoping to go to an aviary.
Outside the office area in the works factory, a team meeting is just finishing up, and everyone is scattering. And there's an overworked but friendly half-elfin woman in a work jumpsuit. And as everyone's scattering, she's like, "Excuse me, Frankie, I might ask you to stay behind if that's all right."
Okay. He seems a little bit frazzled, hiding the bits of paper and pens and stuff that he's been hoarding at his little workstation, doing important work that involves trying to balance the quills on top of each other to see how high he gets that. He was working very hard. Yes, ma'am.
Honey, walk and talk with me, will you?
Walk and talk? Okay, I can do this.
So together, side by side, they start walking through the factory, basically down the production line where the parchment is being made. So there's there's a pulp making station, and then there's a station where they add the chemicals, and there's a big assembly line at both ends. Very, very large humanoid creatures, obviously Goliaths, you would know that, are turning huge wheels to keep the assembly line moving. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what Frankie looks like?
So Frankie is really tall, sort of gangly young man, early 20s. He's doesn't have much muscle tone. He's kind of well dressed for as irresponsible as he is. He wears sort of dark pants, cute little overalls, a plain white shirt, a little bit dirty because he's a dirty boy. He's got wild, crazy, unkept red hair and freckles, but then also dirt. No, you got a bit of dirt on your nose, just there. He doesn't know. And he's just got his satchel, and it's just full of stuff he's found. It's full of his tinkerer tools, his old moldy sandwich from lunch a couple months ago. He's just unorganized, but very enthusiastic to be working here. Thank you for this opportunity. I need this job.
And what race is he?
Oh, he is human, sorry.
He's a human. Okay. The elven woman, she's getting kind of, well, she's a half elf. She's a little bit older. She's probably like the human equivalent of like late 40s. But she's kind. She's got frizzy hair that she keeps like in a ponytail. She's the foreman around here, and she's always treated you nicely. She says, how's your family, Frankie?
Yeah, well, since the mining accident of 49, my dad, he hasn't been the same. But, he's getting there. He's learning to braid my sister's hair so that when they go to school, they don't look weird. But, he's getting there. Everyone's okay. Yeah.
Okay, well, I have to tell you that I do feel for your family. I've met one of your sisters a couple of times when she comes in to say hi to you. So I am going to give you one more chance. But
thank you.
And she stops, and right behind her is a bunch of sheafs of parchment that have just all been ruined with a huge ink stain, like something exploded and covered them with ink, and they're all ruined. And she says, Frankie, is there anything that you want to tell me about how this parchment got ruined?
Well, when it comes to inventing, sometimes some things don't always go right, and there's some small sacrifices that need to be made.
As you're talking, she goes to a nearby storage container, and she opens it, and she reveals someone's cleared it out and put like a little work desk in there. It's like a secret workshop where somebody has been inventing when they're supposed to be working. She looks in there and she sees a bunch of ink pots and like someone's been soldering like a quill or a pen. And then she looks back and she says, Frankie, your job is to maintain the production line, keep the Goliath-powered machines running. I need you to stop goofing around with your tinkering and clear this place out. We need to use this storage container because someone accidentally took the serial number off of it, so it's just been sitting here for a few months. Have I made myself clear?
Yes, ma'am. I will find that person who did that, and I will clear this up.
On the inside of the door, she grabs a poster of a gnome scientist. Someone's got like a hero poster of a scientist, and it says, Gesdark, the inventor. And she rips it down, and she's like, I like you, Frankie, but this isn't the time or the place for this. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that point, Flinva and Karen approach.
Could I just ask the half-elf's name?
Yeah, her name's Chisty. Chistine.
Chistine?
Not Chisty, Chistine. I had to make that one up. That was bad.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Well, her name's Big Tits. No, I'm joking.
We can call it Chistine if you want. Chisty.
Chistine. Oh, that's nice. That's better.
Yeah.
Chistine, darling, I'm looking for someone who's not doing too much today. I've got a very important job for them. Do you know anybody who might be available for a little mission?
Well, good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Chistine. It's so good to see you.
It's actually Chestine, but thank you. I don't get called that enough. I'll tell you what, if you need to borrow someone from the work floor for a bit, why not take Frankie? He needs some time to think. Frankie, why don't you go help Karen with whatever she's doing today?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Oh, hey, Karen. Oh,
Oh, hello, darling. I remember you from when I hired you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm working very hard. He just quickly shoves some stuff in his bag before he can see everything. Oh yeah, I'm just working the hardest any humans worked.
You've got a little bit of Smut there, friend. Smut.
Oh, do I? And he just rubs it, and then it's just the ink from his hands just over. Is that better? Is it gone?
Oh,
Just
darling,
internally
no.
panicking. It's an improvement.
Hold on. I've got a handkerchief. Hold on. And Karen will give you a hanky out of her bag.
Okay, thank you.
To kind of...
He'll blow his
Wipe.
nose with it, and then just hand it back to you.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Thank you.
I'll wash that with all haste.
Outside the rear of the factory, a grey-skinned boy is dragging a large sack of garbage out to the dumpster, the place where all the garbage goes. Why don't you, Poppy, describe to me the rest of the person we're looking at?
Okay, so this is Ido, or Idofa. Not a classically tiefling name, but he is a tiefling. Unfortunately, he matures quite fast, so he has got these big old horns, which he has tried to file down. One successfully, one not so successfully. He is dressed in a classic kind of, in those high school movies, and the janitor's always wearing a full jumpsuit. He's wearing that sort of thing. They haven't made a hole for his tail, so his tail's just down the side of his leg, which looks very strange. And he's looking shiftily side to side, wondering if he can maybe hide out the back for a little bit and have the Dungeons and Dragons equivalent of a cigarette.
There's actually already somebody smoking out there. As you get to the smoking area, you see a very well-dressed human man that you recognize as being one of the bosses, one of the people that runs the company. And he kind of looks down at you and he kind of snorts and he's like, why on earth Breffords would ever allow one of you people to work in my company? When I take over as boss one day, I'm not going to allow any of you demons anywhere near this place.
I look towards the fellow. How tall is this man?
He's quite tall. He's probably like 6'2".
Oh, okay. I look at him and try and put on the scariest face I possibly can. I have like a little hood on because I like to try and hide my horns, but I take them off and just stare at him in a really kind of freaky way. And hopefully that makes him a bit uncomfortable.
I'll tell you what, I'll roll for that. He kind of like looks you up and down and he's not super impressed. He's kind of just like, oh, nice horns, beast. How's your dad, all of
Flip
the
the bird at
monsters
him.
doing?
Yeah, I completely ignore him and just flip the bird and keep going.
He comes up behind you and he pushes you over. He pushes you to the ground.
Oh,
Okay. Well, luckily I'm used to this. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to really acknowledge that he even did anything. I'm just like, I guess this rubbish bag was just a little bit too heavy for me.
Yeah, that's right, it was.
And then I just wipe myself off, stand back up, and keep going.
And he calls after you. He says, don't get too comfortable here. I'll be the boss sooner or later, and then all you and your people will be out on the street. He straightens his tie, and then just behind him, the three other party members, the dwarf and the halfling and the human, exit the door to the smokers area and kind of just hear the end of what he just said.
Could I also ask his name?
His name is Stephen Charity.
Karen actually comes out of the door muttering. She's going, oh, someone who's not doing anything. Someone who's not doing anything. Oh, Miss Charity, hello, darling. How are you today?
Good morning, Karen.
I'm just looking for someone who doesn't seem to be doing anything. I've got a very exciting mission for the garbage boy, of course.
I'm very angry.
Hello, sweetheart. And she just kind of bustles right past your anger. She goes, hello, sweetheart. It's a pleasure to see you again. Get your things. We're going on a little adventure. We'll be back before the end of the day. Don't you think it'll be so much fun?
I kind of have work to do. Who even are you?
You know... Oh, you might not know. You might not know who I am. Yes, that's right. I do make a point to know everybody in the company. It's considered polite to know and trust and work with all of your colleagues.
Please no, I am rolling my eyes at this point.
My name is Karen. I am one of the managers of Mortal Relations. You would have been hired by them. And I'm here on official business to take you away from doing garbage and offer you an opportunity to upskill and have a little bit of fun, see some sights, catch up with some colleagues of yours. What do you say? It's not a request, actually, darling. So, come on.
Okay, so I throw my rubbish bag sort of in the direction of the man to show him that, like, I'm still pissed off with him.
Hang on. It bursts open and a little bit of like office garbage like spills onto his shoe,
Oh,
and he looks
and then
very.
I quickly follow Karen. So
Okay, this is D&D, so I would like all of you to make a perception roll, please.
right.
Okay.
I got 18.
I got a 5.
I got an unnatural 20.
Oh, very nice.
I also got an unnatural 20.
Ooh, okay, so everybody except Karen, as you guys are walking away, you hear him mutter under his breath. He's like, "Ugh, this is who he's sending. Okay, you might as well resign today, old man." And then you guys head off out into the city. So you guys need to head to the west gate of the city.
Very busy.
How would you like to travel?
If possible, Karen would like to take some transport. She's,
In heels.
she's in heels.
There are like horse and carts just for hire. There's like taxi carts around all over the place. Not a lot of people in the city tend to use their own transport. A lot of people just jump on the public transportation. But also like the richest people do tend to have their own sort of like enclosed carriages, but you guys wouldn't have those. So you can take a taxi cart if you want.
I think that Karen would want to take a taxi cart. And
Okay.
she would probably pay for everybody because she would expect to be reimbursed then.
Okay.
Take down, she's
So
going
you,
to take down a note of how much all the expenses are.
do you ask the driver for a receipt?
Yes, I do ask the driver for a seat, darling.
He's very surly about it, but he does sort of like note down on a little piece of, and it's inferior parchment. He notes down on a piece of parchment that you paid 10 silver or 1 gold for people to travel to the gate.
Flinva takes out his little riding kit, his one-handed riding kit, and writes a little quick note and slips it to the taxi driver.
What does it say?
A fond recommendation for services and how the receipts can be a business card that you give to your customers, and how excellent parchment can help make further sales in the future.
Oh, so you just try to sell him parchment?
Always on that grind.
He's quite an old human, like he's a human in his like 70s. He's like not super well dressed, he's just kind of like grumbling. He's basically the equivalent of like a very old bus driver, and he kind of is like, yeah, sure, I'll look into that. And you guys are off. So, you're traveling through Yamir City. It's colourful, it's buzzing with life and opportunity around every corner. The opportunity just might not be for you. Keeping the peace, as always, are towering metal men, the Warforged. They watch tirelessly on behalf of the Emperor's court. People of all shapes and sizes go about their day, rushing every which way in a chaotic dance of consumerism. Tall buildings loom over every street, making you feel like a group of ants scurrying around. And this is a chance for all of you to just kind of hang out and kill some time together while you travel to the gate.
So we're in the taxi, right?
Yeah, you're in like an open-topped taxi carriage, basically.
Okay.
Led by a
I can kind of
horse.
see it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems like the case where Karen would be at the front with the driver, and then us three would just be shoved into the back.
Have you guys ever played Skyrim and used the
Yes.
fast travel carriages there? So there's like one guy at the front, and then there's 2 like seats that go like along the side. So you guys would kind of just be sitting in the back part, sort of facing inwards.
Well then.
Karen is sitting there expectantly with her tote bag on her knees, smiling at everybody, but kind of expecting you all to chat amongst yourselves. Sweeties. Isn't this exciting? It's so much fun.
Who exactly are you guys?
Yes.
My name is Frankie. I work.
I know you. You're the one I had to clean up after you because of that bloody ink spill.
I think you're mistaken. It's fine. It happens all the time.
You're the only ginger on that floor. It was definitely you.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that is, hey, cool. Look at that landmark over there. That's really cool.
Flinva puts his hand out to shake your hands. Flinva, sales. I keep the parchment in production.
I grab his hand, but I have quite intense claws that I do sort of like to show off, and I make an effort to go so that you can see them very clearly. How do you do?
Good, pretty good. Karen, may I ask how long this is going to take? If it's going to take quite a while, I might want to send some letters if I can have a chance to send some letters off to.
Oh, well, it all kind of depends on what's happening back at the office, I suppose. But I was told that we would get back, we would be permitted to be back before the end of the day. So I would say about, we'd be back about 4:30. It shouldn't take too long, a little day trip.
I just had a very important meeting, bit of a sale that I was hoping to.
You should have said something, darling.
Yes, I definitely should have. Looking back.
Just have to let me know next time. It's not a problem. I'll talk to your manager. I'll let him know that I was the one who pulled you out of the meeting. We'll smooth it over.
Okay. I'm currently working on a thing that you can send some messages to other people no matter where they are. I'm calling it "Send a Message to People No Matter Where They Are" thing. I'll let you know when it's up and running. It's in the early stages.
Ah.
Why do you guys want to work? We get a day off work. Why are we trying to work?
Well, no, darling, it's not a day off work. It's an upskilling day. It's a day away from the workplace, but we're still working.
Are we getting paid?
Absolutely, we're getting paid. We're on a mission from the boss himself. We're actually going to go and pick up some chemicals that have been mistakenly delivered to another city. And I was asked to find people that wouldn't spread it around the company that we were doing this, because it's just not the done thing to misdeliver chemicals to other cities.
I would just like it to be noted that I had nothing to do with that. Chemicals have never gone missing on my watch ever.
You still have a little bit of ink on your face.
Oh, wipes it and just wipes more ink on it.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Thanks, mate.
You're most welcome.
So this sounds like a pretty big deal. If we're being told to be quiet about it.
Well,
Hazard pay?
Everything in the Janderson Breffords Parchment Company is a big deal, darling. You'll learn that soon enough. It's just how business is done. My husband always says that you don't need to spread your personal business around the company. You don't even need to spread all of your professional business around the company if you don't need to. It's just good practices.
Wise man.
Thank you. I married him for a reason.
Wondering if I could use this as an opportunity to get something. Because it sounds like, come on, no one's meant to know about this. Why have you taken us three, who I don't even know you? So what made you choose me, Karen? Since you don't know me.
No, but you seem like a fine young man. You seem like a reliable person, and to be honest, Mr. Charity, he can be a little bit
A dick?
he can be a little bit tough sometimes. And I saw you having a little bit of trouble. And I thought, you might like an easy out. I mean, it's not a big deal. You don't have to thank me for it. I just know how hard it is to get started in a business sometimes, when there's rumors swirling about you.
You heard him talking, right? You heard him say that he wants to take over Janderson's position.
Of course, and that's why we have to make this job go absolutely smoothly, sweetheart. We can't have Janderson being smeared in front of all the stakeholders.
Okay. Interesting. What exactly do we need to do?
Well, it's simple. It was explained to me. We go to what was the city's name again?
It's called Keyston. It's just a
Keyston.
small town outside of the city.
I'm going to write that down. Well, Janderson himself explained it to me. It's very simple. We just go to Keyston, we pick up the chemicals, maybe we give them a little bit of time to get everything prepared for the evening, and then we roll on back to the company, put the chemicals where they're supposed to be, and that's it. We've had a little bit of a road trip, we've had a little bit of an adventure, we've gotten to know each other, and we've all upskilled. And isn't that just such a wonderful working day?
Oh yeah.
Hey, it's Penny again. I hope you're enjoying Arc 1, my Chemical Errand so far. We had a bunch of fun recording it, and I'm really looking forward to where the story is going to go to from here. We don't have any sponsors, so there aren't any ads to put here, but I just wanted to do a little shout out to some of the people whose work has gone into this project. It'll just take a sec, and then we can get back to the questing. First of all, the players, Stephanie, Liz, Nate, and Poppy, you guys have been really fun to DM for, and I love your characters. Thank you so much for the time that you have all put into this. Secondly, thanks to Tabletop Audio for allowing me to use their background music. If any DMs are looking for cool mood-setting sound to add to their games, he puts them up completely free as a community resource. They're really good and super well produced. You can check them out at tabletopaudio.com or on his Patreon, which is also called Tabletop Audio. A big thank you to a guy named Regan McKinnon, who created the theme song for the show, as well as a few other pieces of music I'm going to be using. If you liked the theme song, you can reach him by searching for The Porch Recording Studio on Facebook. And finally, thank you to my partner Liv, who has not only been super supportive throughout all the hours I've spent writing the show and editing and post, and helping me to workshop the story ideas, but is also responsible for all the official art that you'll see across all our social media. She's a really talented artist, and she makes all of her money through commission work, creating all sorts of things from digital art portraits to movie storyboards to original comics. She's an absolute treasure, and I can't possibly sing enough praises in this short moment I'm taking for a shout out. If you like the show art and you want some delightful and affordable art custom made just for you, check out Liv Artisan Design, that's Livartisan Design on Facebook, Twitter, or Patreon. Thank you again for listening to our humble little D&D podcast with a terribly long name. You can find out more about us on our website, which should be in the description. I would say it here, but as of this recording, I haven't actually reserved a domain name yet. And there will be a Patreon established eventually where subscribers will be able to get characters named after themselves, submit ideas for magical items that the players will be able to buy, or just show your support, whatever you want to do. Okay, on with the show. So about 25 minutes of cart travel. There's a bit of traffic, so it takes a little longer than normal. You guys arrive at the city's west gate, and you disembark from the cart, and you get in the line. It's all there's more carts outside, but it's for the most part the taxis don't go out, so it's just private carts coming in and out, and then there's like a pedestrian line. The foot traffic is moving a lot faster than the various carts and animal-drawn vehicles. And as you guys watch, a Warforged guard pulls a rolled-up carpet out of someone's cart and shows it to his guard partner, who is a tabaxi, who's a cat person, dressed in a blue and purple soldier's uniform. The tabaxi takes a small tube to the eye and examines the carpet and makes a gesture to the Warforged, who unfurls the carpet and just stands back, and it sits flat, except like a foot above the ground. And another gesture, two more Warforged guards pull a gnome woman out of the cart and begin to lead her away. And she's saying, "You can't take it. It's a family heirloom. I wasn't going to do anything dangerous." And the Warforged says, "We understand, ma'am, but magical artifacts are not allowed in the city. They simply cause too much inequality." And people in the line ahead of you start to gossip. "Oh, a floating carpet." And another one says, "Oh, I bet she works for the mafia." And the third one says, "Oh, something like that. You know, those darn criminals will get their greedy hands on it." And the first one says, "Oh, I wonder if she made a deal with the devil." And then she sees Idafer in the group behind you guys, and she quickly falls silent.
Oh.
I'm assuming they're smaller than me, and I'm staring down at them quite scarily.
Oh, just ignore him. Just ignore him. We'll be out of the city soon enough. There's guards everywhere. He won't do anything.
Ivor, we're on official business. You're not representing yourself. You're representing the Janderson Breffords Parchment Company. Please remember that, sweetheart. Stop glowering at the the common folk.
The common folk.
So, about 5-10 minutes later, you guys arrive at the front of the line, and the tabaxi that you saw before checks your lanyards. Does anyone have a lanyard like somewhere other than on a necklace?
I just have like a badge.
Mine would be
that?
attached to my satchel.
Karen's would be around her neck.
Frankie's would be in his bag somewhere. He's frantically searching through his satchel. Papers falling out. I'm like, yeah, here it is.
Who's fronting the group?
Karen.
So the tabaxi turns to you, like after looking at everyone's lanyards, and says, "Good morning, madame. What is your purpose for leaving the city today?"
We're on official business from the Janderson Breffords Parchment Company.
I can see that is where you work based on these lanyards, but I do not often see people without paper coming through the gates. What are you doing out of the city today?
An upskilling.
Sales.
Really. Oh, and sales. Upskilling, sales, all the good stuff.
He notes that down in his little ledger, and he takes all of your names down. Enjoy your...
Hovers over him, making sure that he spells her name correctly. That's Stonecutter, Stonecutter. Yes. Your handwriting is adequate.
Thank you very much, madame. The four of you, please have an excellent time out of the city, and it is my duty to warn you that you should not stay outside the city at night. Bandits roam the roads, and despite our best efforts, people often find themselves robbed or mugged or worse. So please make sure to take care of yourselves and take shelter in the nighttime.
What was your name again?
Fuck, I gotta come up with a name.
That's an interesting name.
A cat name.
Now,
Classic cat name.
Karen, Karen will
Steve.
ask for everybody's name.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to come up with names for all of these. My name is Shimmer. It is Shimmer Tailcoat. It is very nice to meet you.
Shimmer Tailcoat, darling, it's so good to meet you. I will remember you, and I will pass on my recommendations to your manager. Have a fantastic day.
He kind of like rolls his eyes a little bit once you turn your back, and he's like, "Oh, thank you very much. That wouldn't mean so much to me. My manager being the emperor." So you guys are out of the city. The city is surrounded on all sides by quite large, like stone walls. Once you get out of the city, there's, it's mostly just a road leading up to the wall. There's a stable there for people who want to hire carts. There is, there's a couple of people like, selling maps to the city, and a few people, but for the most part, once you get out of the city, it's either like leaving or coming in, with like a few small exceptions of people standing around. There's a few guards out there just keeping an eye out. The walls are exceptionally high. You know that there are guard towers at the top, but just because of how high they are, you can't actually see anybody up there. So you guys have about an hour's travel to get to Keyston, judging by what you just kind of generally know about the area around the city. How would you like to travel?
Well, not walking, obviously. What's the transportation methods to get there?
You can get a cart. You can hire individual horses. This gate doesn't have a centipede train. The centipede train's mostly just inside of the city. Although the north gate, you know that because the north gate is kind of like the royal sector and the rich sector. Supposedly, out of the north gate, there is a centipede train that goes north. Individual horses,
I'm not
a cart.
about to ride a horse.
Okay. Yeah, most of you probably wouldn't know how to ride horses or donkeys or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get another cart. I will ask for another receipt. Is that 1 gold again, or is it?
It's probably 7 silver there. He's like, oh, you can pay the rest on when you're ready to return. I don't do return trips because people take their time, and sometimes somebody else wants to hire me. So, 7 gold. So, sorry, 7 silver. Very nearly overcharged you there.
Oh, you wouldn't have overcharged me, darling. I know exactly how much I'm worth. She'll get onto the cart, having not realised that she's just roasted herself spectacularly.
7 silver.
Do we have to drive the cart ourselves?
No, there's a driver. There's a person who will. Well, you can if you want to. Like, it'd probably be 5 silver if you want to just take the cart. But there will be a like a bond you have to pay.
Okay.
Okay.
I can barely drive.
So he says, "Oh well, it's about an hour to Keyston from here. Sit tight. There's a nice spot I know on the way where we can have a rest and you can stretch your legs. Good day to you. I'll probably be ignoring you for the rest of the way. And he does like a big yeah, and the horse is like, "Brrr," and then just walks at like a slow horse pace, just like a basic. It feels like it's gonna. It feels like it's gonna gallop, but it doesn't. You guys are free to, carry on chatting for a bit if you want to, or I can just skip ahead. It's really up to you guys.
Have any of you guys been to Keystone?
I have not.
No.
If you want, you can roll
I have
history
not,
checks, and I
but-
can tell you what you know about it.
Okay.
Anyone who thinks that I've been there, not necessarily everyone. If you don't think that you would know about it,
Oh.
like Idafa, you just asked, so you probably don't know much about it.
Yeah.
Nah, Karen wouldn't have been, and she doesn't.
No.
Unless
I gotta-
unless Dwarven Town?
Nah, it's not.
I rolled a 19.
Cool. Okay. You
I
know.
rolled a 12.
Okay. So, Frankie, all you know about Keystone is that it's just like one of many small towns, like just small farming villages that just sits outside of the city. It's one of the closest ones to the city walls. It's only like an hour or two outside of the city, depending whether you walk or take a carriage. And Flynn, you know that it is quite famous for its pork. It's a pig farming town primarily.
Pork.
Yeah, for its pork.
Okay, I think it said port. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
No, sorry, pork with a K. It's a pig farming town.
Maybe we should think of our cover story or our sell to people about why we're going to Keystone. And maybe I could make some sales to some places there since I haven't made contacts here.
Well, that's actually a very good idea. Flynn, I knew I picked you for a reason. What's Keystone all about anyway? It's a human town, isn't it? I don't really know much about it.
Oh, well, yes, it's just a giant pig farm, basically. Not much happening, but, farmers make orders, send off shipments.
And they need good parchment to be able to do that. Flinvar, very good.
Do we do waxed-based paper? Just thinking of those butchers and wrapping their products after they're butchered, actually.
No, I don't actually know. Frankie, what kinds of papers do we do? Do we do wax-based?
Would I have to roll to know that? Or
No,
just-
you just decide and it's canon.
Okay. Wax-based papers. Yeah, we have some applications for that. We're in early stages, but I think we should be up and running with that soon. We're also developing some sort of really thin paper that's easily dissolved in water, used to possibly wipe messes off of body regions, but we're finding that's very difficult to keep up production because everyone seems to be hoarding that. So
That sounds very interesting, Frankie.
that's
It sounds like a whole different world down there on the production floor.
yes, we're trying to make up names for that. At the moment, we're calling it waste bucket paper, but it doesn't roll off the tongue as easy. No. I've got some samples here in my bag somewhere if you want to see it. And he's ruffling and it's a little soiled, but I think you get the gist. And he hands it to you and
Flinvar retracts his hand very quickly.
So does Karen.
I scoot away.
Wow, we can see from here, darling. It's kind of like a handkerchief, but single use.
That's right. It breaks down really easy. Sometimes your fingers just go straight through it, and we're figuring it out.
That's a trade secret right there. I'd tuck that away real quick so no one else steals it.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right about that. He just shoves it back into his bag.
Ew.
All right.
Like,
So if I
Frankie
may,
he doesn't understand why you're all disgusted about it. He's like, it's just paper. Okay.
if I may, Karen, can we use the waxed paper as our kind of cover story for why we're visiting this weird town? Because we need something other than sales, as I must say.
Of course. If you want to get all, private eye on me, that'll be quite fun, won't it? I'm sure we won't need to, but, if we want to have a little bit of fun, and maybe that will bring us closer together as work colleagues. We can have a little bit of a fun, private eye detective adventure together. What do you think, Haifa?
Exactly, these chemicals. What are they? I haven't been listening, by the way. Like my character, I have. But Artifa has just kind of been sitting there playing with his claws, just kind of ever since Frankie was talking about the tissue paper. So yeah, I've just what are the chemicals? Like, what exactly could they do with them?
I don't know, darling. I don't want to put down on the floor. You'll have to ask Frankie.
Cool.
Make
What?
parchment with them, I guess.
Would you like some help with this
Mhm.
one?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so for the most part, they are for tempering, bleaching. Basically, like, you have to make pulp in the factory. So basically, you get wood come in, and the chemicals is what you use to treat the wood at certain stages in order to turn it into parchment. In order to, like, basically get down to the fibers and then press it and then bleach it. And so there's 4 barrels of chemicals. I haven't really given them names. They're just chemicals, but they're just, the stuff you use to make paper.
Yeah. Frankie would like to explain that, and he's like, I also have a book here that helps explain all of that, and he pulls out a book. It's called How Not to Lose Your Arm in Your Brother's Body in 24 Days, Engineering for Beginners. And he pulls out, goes to chapter like 27, and there's a whole chapter on making paper and explains the various chemical process and everything to do that. So he does a little presentation on that.
Karen, at the end of his little presentation, Karen politely claps and she goes, "See, we're upskilling and we're learning from each other already. How exciting!"
I actually found that helpful. Thank you.
It's possible that Ardo fell asleep during that.
After you guys have been traveling for a total of about an hour, the cart pulls over and the driver's like, well, hey guys, I mentioned to you before that a good place to stretch your legs and relax. We've got a little ways to go. Not too far, but if you like, you can stop here and have a drink and enjoy a little bit of relaxation time. And as he said, there is like a really nice, like really pretty forest clearing just off to the side of the park. There's like a stream that runs on the other end. There's a few seats. Obviously, this is a popular spot to stop because there are a few like chairs that people have built and like bought here. Do you guys want to stop here, or would you like to just continue?
Anyone else here?
Yeah.
There is one man. He's just quietly sitting near the river. Do you guys know Samurai Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got one of those big flat cone hats. It's called a casa. And he's wearing a robe, and he's just sort of sitting quietly by himself over by the river.
That sounds like a lovely idea, darling. Thank you so much for your service. It's been exemplary. What was your name again, sweetie?
Jeff. My name's Jeff. Easy to remember, easy to come up with. That's what they say about me.
Yeah.
Jeff Cartman.
I will
I can't believe it.
I will pass on my recommendation to my family. It has been an absolute pleasure so far. What time is it around about?
It was
Morning tea time.
Yeah, it is morning tea time. It's about 10:30. You guys have been traveling for a total of about an hour and a half, including the time that you were traveling through the city and waiting in line. So yeah, it's getting close to morning tea time.
Yeah. Karen would like to hop off and have a little bit of a snack. She has her packed lunch because she is a traditional businesswoman, but also, very thrifty. So she's got a nicely, neatly packed lunch, and she would like to get out and have a little bit of that. Half a sandwich.
Out of his stomach audibly growls, and I haven't bought any food because I usually buy something from like a vending machine at work.
Oh no!
Karen, have you got any food?
I've got something in here that I'd like to share. If you'd like.
Okay, so I asked Karen. I'm terrified of your bag, Frankie.
Let's not be so hasty. What's Frankie got? Have you brought enough to share for everybody? That's awfully nice of you, Frankie.
Frankie pulls out this. It's a little parcel wrapped up in some paper. Don't know if it's actual food grade paper, but that's beside the point. I've got the sandwich. He smells it. He's like, it was salmon and egg sandwich.
Oh.
I can't
Oh.
remember when the last time I ate salmon and egg, but you're free to share this. And
Oh,
I have an
Wow.
apple that would split 4 ways.
Karen will hand Ida for the other half of her sandwich. Just be like, "Oh, Frankie, you're too kind. I think you should save that for yourself." Or
that's
possibly
fair.
Possibly for maybe a passing animal. Or...
Oh, so you think I should just put it down here on the ground? Maybe something will come and eat it. Is that what we're doing? Are we sharing everything like that? Like,
You could share your old sandwich with the wildlife if you want to, Frankie. That's fine.
yeah. I think I might do that. And he just sort of places it gently down next to him, and carries on.
I'm assuming
Uh,
it smells disgusting, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, so I kick the sandwich because I don't want it anywhere near us. It's just gone.
Can you roll me a dexterity check? Just a straight dex check.
Heck yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. No, that's nice. That is a 22.
So it rolls kind of close to the tree line, kind of like splits open a little bit, and a fox darts out of the forest and like has a sniff, and then like yelps and runs back into the forest. and off from over by the river, you hear like very amusing, and you can see the man in the casa like kind of watching you. He's smiling. He doesn't really seem disturbed by new people coming. He watched the thing with the fox. He pulls like a little handkerchief wrapped parcel out from his bag, and he opens it and he's like, "New friends, would you like to share some pastries with me on this beautiful day?"
I would love to, thank
yeah,
you.
I do.
He does have a little package of like pies and cupcakes and stuff.
Aw.
And so he like lays
Oh my
it
gosh,
out,
thank you.
and he grabs like the pinkest frosted cupcake, and he begins to eat it. Please come over and share with me. The food you have for the animals does not appear to be edible, so perhaps you would like to eat my food.
Oh,
Yeah.
Flimber goes over to join him and pulls an apple out of his satchel and offers it for sharing as well, as well as his belt knife.
Roll me a perception check.
Yeah, I've eaten the half sandwich that I got quite hastily. And then I walk over really politely and go, "This is a nice little selection you have. May I have one?"
Oh, absolutely.
21.
I'll come back to that. Absolutely, new friend. But it is customary in my country, in my town, to share names before we eat together. My name is Moshi Werata. It is very nice to meet you.
Flimver, nice to meet you. And I put my hand out to shake.
He smiles. He doesn't like seem to get that you want to shake hands. He just kind of smiles, and it kind of looks to him like you've reached for a pie and very, very clearly missed. So he like picks one up and like put it in your hand. He's like, "Here you go. The food is on the ground."
Oh, thank you, sir. Yes.
I've reached for a cookie, and I'm assuming there's cookies there.
Yeah.
And I just say, "My name is Josh."
Very nice to meet you, Josh. Does anyone else partake, or are you guys staying separate?
Josh.
Yeah, no, Karen will also bustle over and introduce
Yeah.
herself and make a point of saying his name a couple of times. Moshi Warata.
That
Is
is
that correct?
That is correct. Thank you for taking the time to memorize my name. Perhaps if we bump into each other in the future, you will soon know it. He's like very jolly and very.
Of course I
he's
will.
very
I
friendly.
never forget a name. I never forget a name, Moshi. I never forget a name. Well, I'm Karen. It's a pleasure to meet you. Unfortunately, I don't have quite the selection of beautiful pastries to offer you. I just have, some mixed nuts and the sandwich is already gone, unfortunately. And but I believe I will take one of those cute little cupcakes. And
Oh,
she will,
please help yourself.
She will grab one of the cupcakes and she will sit down next to Josh and and start munching.
Frankie bounces over as well, and he's like, I'm Frankie. Nice to meet you. He also turns to Josh. Is like, have I been mispronouncing? Did I mishear your name? I thought you had a different name.
I lean over really close to Frankie and go, "No, my name is Josh."
Oh, Josh.
You must
Right.
not be very good friends to not remember an easy name like Josh.
No,
We
well,
mostly know each other by last names, to be fair.
Oh, very good.
Josh, what's your last name?
It's I don't have a last name. It's just Josh.
Oh.
Josh, mononym Josh, like Bono. He's not in this.
there is actually a Bono in this world.
Perfect.
He's not a rock star. He's just a guy.
Just like Bono.
Just a guy.
So, back to
Sorry.
Flynn's perception roll. You rolled a 21. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
You notice poking out of his bag a very ornately decorated handle that looks like it might be for some kind of sword.
Okay.
It's not on him. It's just poking out of his bag. You just kind of notice it. It looks very expensive. But anyway, he carries on sharing his lunch with you. He tells you a humorous story about a frog that he saw, just before you guys arrived. He just seems really, really happy to be talking to people. And then after a little bit, he kind of
Aw.
falls serious and he says, "You are all from the city of Ymir, is this correct? I assume so from the way you are dressed."
Yeah, that's where I live.
We're from the Janderson Breffords Parchment Company. We're here on official work business. What are you doing? What are you doing on the road today?
I am simply a traveler, an adventurer. I am seeking my fortune, as you say.
How fun!
Might I ask you, how does...
How are you seeking a fortune?
Oh, just whatever comes up. And he kind of... Actually, roll me an insight check.
Oh, okay, that's an 11.
He seems on the level. He seems like he doesn't really have any particular thing that he's up to. He does kind of ask you so you are all from the city. How does life treat you there? Are you well taken care of? Are you wealthy? Are you able to take care of yourselves?
I certainly don't have any complaints, darling. And Karen kind of subtly shows off her fancy shoes and her fancy little tote bag. Looks kind of pleased with herself.
I have to work to support my family. It's very difficult, but very rewarding. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Can I do a perception check into why he's asking that?
That would be
Right.
insight.
Oh, insight, I mean. Yes. Oh, yes, I do. Unnatural 20.
He seems to be asking you in a sympathetic way. He seems genuinely interested in your day-to-day lives. And when Frankie mentions that he has to take care of his family and that he works really hard to take care of his family, he does seem to be really sympathetic towards that. He does seem like he seems concerned. He seems very concerned about the way people live day to day. He kind of, he does a little snort out of his nose, when Karen basically says how well off she is. He seems genuinely concerned about the poor.
Okay. Do we know what race is he? Is he
He's a human.
very obviously not human or something?
No, he
Okay.
seems to be a human. He's got a big hat on, but from what you guys know about the people that you bump into from day to day, he looks like he has the build of a human.
Mm.
Okay.
Flimba puffs up his chest a little bit and he says, "I'm doing well for myself. I'm a self-made man. I made myself what I am."
Oh, very, very good. I appreciate someone who earns what they have. And you, my friend, how is life for a horned being in the city?
I look at him a little bit. I actually look away from him because I don't really want to talk about it. But I'm just like, oh, it's okay. I'm fine.
He kind of watches you for a little bit. He's like, "Oh, okay, very good." I rolled a natural 1, so he just believed you. And then he says, "For many of your people, I know that things can be very difficult, so I'm glad that you are doing well and taking care of yourself.
Wait.
You are my friend now."
Well,
Have you met other tieflings before?
Oh yes, I have a very good friend who is a tiefling. He has different horns than you, and he is significantly older, but he is a very good friend of mine. He did not have the best childhood. He was one of the first tieflings. People did not like him, but he is a good man.
Karen butts in and says, "Well, rest assured that we in the Janderson Breffords Parchment Company are doing all we can to reduce discrimination and foster good relationships between all races in our company. You can see all of us are here together today on a sales and upskilling trip. We're all different races and we're all getting along just fine. So, you know, there's really nothing to worry about, darling."
I do like an audible chuckle, like, yeah, right.
Mercy stands and he picks up his bag and he's like, "I am very glad to hear that. Not everybody has the same fortune to be so well taken care of in this world. So please make sure you take care of people who are not as well off as yourselves, Karen, and also the rest of you. But you seem like you have the ability to do that. Please take care of these people. They are my friends now." And he starts to whistle.
They're my trusted colleagues.
"I bid you farewell. Perhaps we will meet again someday." And he gets up and he kind of just walks off, like
Okay.
whistling to himself. He's headed in the direction that you guys came from. He's not heading towards Keyston,
So
he's heading
heading
away
to the
from
city.
Keyston, yeah. Well, not necessarily to the
Okay.
city, but just away from Keyston.
What a lovely chap.
Strange fellow.
Hey, he's all right, eh?
Well, I do believe we shouldn't hold up Jeff any longer from his job. We should probably get back on the cart. Is everybody stretched? Is everybody feeling ready for another exciting half hour of sitting down?
I'm
Oh,
ready.
Lord.
Should we go
Yeah,
quickly empty
let's
the
get
kazoo?
this done. The what?
The kazoo.
The kazoo.
Kazoo.
Yes, I'm gonna go empty my kazoo.
Please, empty your kazoo.
Flynn ducks
Oh.
around a tree and actually empties his kazoo because there was some crumbs in his kazoo. And then comes
So you guys are standing around, kind of like talking and just being like, "Oh yeah, yeah." How did you guys feel about Mercy? Did you like him?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was lovely.
yeah, lovely, yeah.
So you guys are-
nice fella.
You guys are kind of talking, like standing around doing watercolor
Didn't
stuff,
it-
being like, "Oh, what a lovely guy." And you turn back to the cart.
Yeah.
And Jeff is being held by a human man who also is holding a dagger. And there are also another human man and two tiefling men advancing on you. And as soon as they see that you see them, the human holding Jeff says, "Get him!" And you guys are very suddenly being mugged, being attacked.
Oh,
Oh.
Did we eat my apple?
I don't know, did you?
yeah.
Okay.
I think we had the apple.
Were you going to throw it at them?
Well, I put it on the
So you
table
have
to share.
extra strength.
I'd throw it at them if I didn't.
How do you react? Like, this is kind of like a sudden thing. You're surprised and frightened by this. Like, how do you react in this moment that men with knives are approaching you?
Karen screams very loudly and starts wildly swinging her handbag. Stay back! I'm from the Janderson Breffords Parchment Company. I'm here on official business. You don't have a right to touch me. And she's swinging her handbag.
One of the tieflings is
Um,
like, "Oh no,
Flynn does.
I guess we don't have a right to," and he grabs your bag. When you swing it, he tries to catch it. Roll me a strength contest.
Okay. Strength. That's a natural 1.
So he actually snatches your purse mid-swing and manages to wrest it away from you. He uses his knife to like cut the strap, so now he's got your purse.
Okay,
Would anybody
Karen screams louder.
would anybody else like to tell me how they're reacting, or should we start the encounter?
I am sort of frozen in fear, but as soon as the guy steals Karen's purse, I run to like pick her up because she's tiny and haul her off.
Okay, Flynn and Frankie, how do you guys respond to this like sudden shock of people approaching you?
So I immediately put my hand up, but I'm staying still because I'm a bit shocked. But I think my mind's kind of ticking over, and I'm thinking, how can I talk myself out of this?
Okay, and
So I'm
Frankie,
gonna
what are
take
you
it like a bit of a minute.
Frankie, what are you up to?
Frankie's also going to say, he's going to put his hands up and like, I'm sure we could come to a more peaceful resolution where you guys live and we also get to keep our stuff.
So the other tiefling that doesn't have Karen's bag is like, oh yeah, peaceful resolution. That's what we all want to. Tell you what, why don't you all give up all your valuables, all your gold, and that way we can resolve this peacefully by us just punching you in the face a bunch of times. How does that sound?
Let's put a pin in that. Let's not punch in the face because
He punches you in the face. What's your AC?
AC is 14.
Yeah, so he meets that. You take 2 bludgeoning damage.
Oh shit!
I said give up your goddamn valuables. This is a mugging, okay? Do you know what that means, city bitch? Give me your bag, and then we'll maybe beat you up a little bit, and then we'll let you live. How does that sound? Or we could do it the other way, where I take this knife and I put it inside your body.
Flinva puts up his hands in further and he goes, hey, look, can I just say, if you look at all of us, we're obviously low-income workers. What's your time frame? How much time have you got to rob people before, someone comes along with, more muscle, more things, trying to talk his way out of it?
One of the others punches you in the face as a response to that question. What's your AC?
14. Can I try and duck?
No, he hits you. He meets your AC. I'm rolling attacks on my end, so So you also take 2 bludgeoning damage.
Oof.
Roll me a quick, let's say con check.
14.
Okay, yeah, like you're not quite knocked over. You managed to stay on your feet, but the guy that punched you is now holding you and kind of trying to rifle through your pockets. And the 4th man, the first human, approaches you, holding his knife to Jeff's throat, and he says, "Listen, we're not here to play games. We're here to make money. So all of you, empty your pockets now, or this guy dies."
Okay, I think they're gone now. Hello, it is me, Moshi, your favorite samurai-based character. Thank you for listening to the show, and make sure you treat people correctly and take care of those who need help. Okay, goodbye.